Alright, welcome back again. Now, in this lesson, we're gonna actually continue working on the particles, and we need particles because we need actually to rain. Sorry, we need it to rain, not we need it to rain. So this is like, yeah, English is a weird language. So yeah, we need it. We need actually a raining kind of weather. So in order to do that, I will actually go ahead and try to explore what other things we have here. So if I grab waterfall, well, actually waterfall is quite extreme for us. I mean, yeah, I cannot actually use it, honestly. It's kind of too much. Let me try to see. Oh, one more thing. If you notice something, if you look at our terrain, the water actually collides with the shore here, and there's a very interesting particle here effect called the water splash, where you can, if you look at it, it's, give it some time, and it looks like this. Which if you position it smartly a little bit, like, try to position it as good as possible, and probably rotate it a little bit. There we go. So you get this kind of a splashy kind of effect. So if I go and play, let me try to find the guy. You see, this is how the water actually splashes against the shore. So it adds a little bit of, like, how can I say, realism. It's not like the water is not moving. It just, right now it gives you the feeling that the water is moving. Of course, we can control how, for example, the speed and everything related to it. But I'm just gonna leave only one there, just for you to look at it and probably play with it if you wanted to. So I'm gonna actually take this out, and I will leave you actually play with these stuff. So let me see. Especially when playing with particles, sometimes you don't need to build one from scratch. Sometimes we would like, for example, take something that already exists and start modifying it. And by the way, playing with particles really needs a lot of patience, because there are a lot of trial and error involved in this process, and you could spend hours just trying to get something really as you want it. I mean, it depends, of course, on how and what you would like to get. So let me see. Light snow. Light snow is kind of interesting. Oh, it's falling a little bit slower, although it has the snowflake kind of texture to it. If you, well, it's not. Actually, it had the snowflake. Probably I played with it a little bit more. Snow, light snow. Let me see over here. Let me try to select the snowflake, which was originally applied to it. So let me see, snowflake. There we go. Double click. Yeah. Now it's more like it. Yeah. So light snow seems to be not appropriate for this case, although I could modify it. Like, for example, I could give it a world velocity of -y. Right now it's falling faster, much faster, but again, the textures on it, it will actually seem be not appropriate, and since it's falling really fast, it is very transparent, because it depends on the speed. The particle has been configured based on the animation speed. You get a certain color and certain transparency to the color and so on. So let me delete this, and you know what, let me go for game object, create other, particle system, and if I frame on this, I know it's kind of strange kind of, particle system over here, but if I pull it up a little bit, let me just pull it up as much as possible, and more, and let's see. First of all, the shape is a cone. If I change this to, well, I can actually leave it as cone, and I just simply increase the size of it, right? Or hang on a second. I can give this as a box, and I just simply increase the box size like this and like this, so it emits from that surface. Now, since our terrain is 256 by 256, that means that we have, at least from the center, 128 probably. No, 256 times 256. Oh, that's a bit small. We need a little bit larger. Was it 512 then? Oh yeah, actually our terrain was 512, I forgot. So yeah, there we go. We covered the whole terrain. Now try to make sure that your particle emitter just a little bit higher. So if a player just got a little bit smarter, because if you look carefully, actually hang on, we have very few particles and they are going up. In order to reverse that, I'll go to the gravity modifier. I'll just put our gravity 8.9 meters per second and yeah, it falls right now down on Earth. Now, if a player just, by the way, in games they don't put really the thing goes up really high in the sky. Actually, they could put it really closer, but since there are no players gonna be coming up here and seeing it, so you have to really make sure that like try to put it as high as possible, but not very high that it will take a lot of time to reach, that the rain will reach down to the to the ground. So right now we need to maximize the emission. So I'll increase the emission rate. Try to crank it up as much as I can. Probably more. Let's say 600. And let's see. I believe it's passing through a lot, and probably I'm gonna actually increase the maximum amount of particles to, let's say, 10,000. So it's really raining. Like, we can even go ahead 100,000. By the way, this actually affects your system, so please tweak it. I'm not tweaking it right now, I'm just simply playing with it. And as you can see here, when it falls, it just creates this small splashes on the water, and small splashes as well on the ground, if you notice carefully. It just happens in a fraction of a second, and sometimes it's not visible. So yeah, actually, well, let's play this. It will take some time, and there we go. If you have noticed something, that our trees actually are, when I get closer to them, they suddenly, straighten up. Have a notice at this one, where my mouse at, when I look closer to it, it just simply straightens up. And this is because Unity, when it renders trees, it actually converts the tree, when you get far away from the tree, it converts to a billboard with a tree texture on it. So it will optimize it, so you don't need actually to see the whole tree rendered, even you're looking at it from far away. Because when you look at these trees which are on the hill, you are never closer to them, and when you look at them, they are, I mean, you don't need them in 3D, because anyway you cannot see them in 3D. I mean, even if they're gonna be in 3D, you will not notice the difference. So I have to really get closer in order to notice the difference. Now you have to find, as a developer, you're gonna have to find the sweet spot when these trees are actually gonna be 3D, and when they're gonna be when they are gonna be when they're gonna be 3D and when they're gonna be billboard. Okay, and I'm gonna show you where you can actually control that now, and I'm gonna show you how actually even this look like. So right now I'll stop here at the rain thing, and if you look carefully, I'm actually gonna deselect this because if I deselect the particle, let me see, the particle system, I'm gonna rename it to rain, and let me show you what I'm talking about here. If you go into the rendering mode, and if I say actually here, actually the RGB, and if I hit overdraw, what you see in front of you right now is showing you some sort of a heat map. This shows you how many polygons are overdrawn over each other. So the more like brightness you get over here, that means that you get more polygons are overlapped each other. And if you look carefully, these guys are just only single polygonal faces or surfaces. If I go backwards, these trees suddenly become a billboards. You see? The farther you go, the more billboard they come. The closer you come, they start to be converted into 3D. Now, if I go to RGB again, this is how they look like. You see, they suddenly straight up, like, or they get to a certain pose, and then when you get closer at them, they start, you know, being modified. Now, I believe you select the terrain, you go to the trees, and hang on a sec. I believe it's actually in the properties. Trees and detail objects, and here you are talking about the detail density, detail distance, excuse me, detail density, when the tree distance, billboard start. You see right now, if I'm putting it really close right now, it's gonna be, I have to be really close at it in order to be 3D, and fade length, when it's gonna be fading in from from 2D to 3D and so on and so forth. So right now when the player gets closer, you try to find the sweet spot that the player, when he gets closer, he doesn't notice when the tree becomes a billboard, or actually becoming from a billboard to a real tree. And in the same time, this sweet spot has to be really good enough not to sacrifice the system's performance. So you really have to spend some time tweaking out these parameters. Okay, so if I play this right now, because I cranked my numbers very high, oops, I collided with the tree. And as you can see here, all the trees which I'm rendering right now are in 3D because my numbers are really high. But and I found actually the spot where I cannot notice anymore. Oops, I cannot notice anymore when the trees are becoming billboards and when the trees are becoming 3D. See, I have to be really in a very open area to start finding it. And still I cannot find it, which is kind of interesting. So I got it really, right now I have to start, you know, testing it, you know, trying to get the best spot, you know, decrease the numbers and see what's possible, what is best in our case. Alright, so basically we have got the rain system going. Now, before I start importing the house and showing you some of the interesting things about importing some objects from external applications, there's one more thing I would like actually to do here is let me see. Yeah, I would like actually to add the wind. So, you know, it's kind of boring. I never seen trees like this, unless there's no wind at all and it's raining, which has to have some wind in it, right? So they seem like they are sculptured, like they are like made from cement or something like that. So we need to get some dynamics into that. And in order to do that, I can go to the game object, create other, and when you say create other, way down at the end of the list you have something which is called a wind zone selected. And if I double click on it in my game window, the wind zone is as well is affecting my whole scene. It's infinitely large. It doesn't care about where it's positioned. So the system doesn't care where it is positioned. It only cares about the direction. So I will actually leave it that way, right here. And I will leave actually everything the same. And let me show you. I'll just simply push it right there, you know, just to be here, to be easier to find, you know. And I'll just simply start my game, and nothing happens. And this is because I didn't say the trees currently, they are not listening to the wind, they are not feeling the wind. So in order to do that, I will select my terrain, I will go ahead in my trees, I will select the type of a tree, hit edit trees, and edit a tree, and you can start modifying this bend factor. Now this bend factor is 0. Let me hit W just to escape that brush, and I believe I selected the pine tree, so let me increase the bend factor to 1 or more. You see, right now my trees are really bent. It's like a storm right now coming out, and and it's almost gonna be bent out to be, you know, like they should be start cracking right now, being broken and everything. So you don't crack them up that high. You could, let's say, like 0.5. Well, let me actually put it 1. I'll just leave it at 1, and I will grab as well the second tree, and I will hit edit tree. And right now you can actually start modifying. For example, some trees could not be bent according to in the same way. Not all the types of the trees are bending in the same way. Some trees are tougher than the others, and so on. So yeah, so please take care about this. And let me look at the trees. And you see they have a subtle kind of, you know, they are shaking a little bit, which is kind of, you know, yeah, not that very interesting. Let me try to make it, you know, a little bit more visible. So if I grab the wind zone, and by the way, you can actually modify some stuff in real life, in real time, but since I have to click over here and my mouse is still in the focus, I'll just simply like control space or right click here, and I'll just simply click over here again. So right now I lost the focus. In order to get it back, I have to click here again. So right now I got it. Now I could start, you know, changing the magnitude, changing the frequency. So if I increase the frequency, they are getting, you know, a little bit, the pulse frequencies are getting a little bit shaky. So let me try to, okay, they are shaking a lot. Now let me try to get it like a little bit. You know, try to get the numbers right. And let me just increase the magnitude. So, oh, the magnitude is larger. Let me try to minimize it. Turbulence. Oh, let me decrease the turbulence a little bit, like so. So there's no much turbulence, like, you know, I'll just leave it at 0.13. And they're just simply like, you know, rocking back and forth. So increase the frequency a little bit. So right now it's much more interesting, right? I mean, although it's not realistic, but I'm just, you know, for demonstration, I'm just, you know, trying to make it, trying to show you how you could actually modify this in order to make the trees really looking normal. Or rocking at least back and forth. It depends on how, you know, you would like them. Okay? Now, it is a very important thing to notice, and I actually, because I don't want to lose the numbers in here, I'm actually going to write them down. So let me see here. For the turbulence, 0.13, and for the wind magnitude, so magnitude is going to equal to 1.32, and for the pulse frequency is going to be 0.79. Now, actually, if you haven't noticed, or actually for you to know, if I just right now unpause for a sec, if I just unpause it, all these numbers are going to be reverting to a default. You see? So please take care that not all the numbers are going to stay there. I've discovered that, like, when you are actually in real time, if you, like, let's say do like so, you know, if I select the terrain, I can actually modify the terrain in real time. Actually I could once, but I cannot right now for some certain reason. I actually could, like, modify some certain features in the terrain in real time, and it actually could be saved. But there are some certain numbers or some certain features in Unity that, or actually some certain parts in Unity where you can actually modify them in real time while playing the game, and they will not be reverted back. Some of them, but there are actually few of them, but I can't recall right now. So please, when you are working with such things, please always remember, like when you write your numbers, take note of them and then type them again once you are outside. You know, once you find the value which you are happy with, just go for it. 0.79, and we are good, I believe. So let me play this. Yep, so from start, nice, nice. Everything is rocking, everything is just fine. So let me go back. Alright, so we got actually the wind working. Yeah, I have to go to the scene. We got the wind, we got the... Oh yeah, and one more thing. Actually, I've discovered that, yeah, our trees are rocking back and forth, but our rain is not reacting to the wind, which we need to make it react to it. So, let me see over here. I'm gonna try to see if there's any way I could add more force into the rain, so it just simply at least slides over, because the wind is blowing that way over the z-axis. You see, it just from the z-axis. So I'm gonna try to oops, and let me go to the perspective. So I'm gonna actually try to make it, you know, Control S. Now go to the blow to the z-axis. So we need to find the force. Looping, prevent, simulation space, local, and world. Let me try to find. Well, it should have been here actually. Starting size. Okay, let me see. Collision, rotation, overlap, size by speed, color by speed, where you actually can force over time, and I can just add the force. Let me see here. Let me check that, and let me add randomness to it. But after I get, let's say, to 1, let me try to increase that. Let's see how far it will go. Does it affect it? No. Oh, I have to get a very high number. Whoa. Well, I thought that the Z is... Well, let me stop. Simulate. If I increase the Z, how come that the Z is actually controlling this? Okay, let me see. If this is so, then X is blowing that way, Y is blowing that way, then Y should be this way. Right? There we go. And let me see here if I change this to a world now. Local. Somehow I cannot get the randomness activated for some certain reason, but okay. I'm anyway satisfied with it because the rain anyway is a heavy substance, like it's water. So let me see. So yeah, it has some sort of direction to it, and the trees are rocking normally. Okay, I'm happy with this. Okay, it's enough for I mean it's enough for the purposes for the purpose of this scene. Control S that. Now, okay, we have the rain, we have the water, we have the trees rocking, we have the wind is on our side, and yeah, so we can actually start importing our 3D model into our scene, and probably we can have even, like before even importing it, I'm in fact going to clean this area right here. Oops, let me grab first. By the way, if you hold down the control, you see it's written there, control to erase a selected type of tree. So I'm gonna select that tree and hit the control and just simply remove this. So I'm gonna actually, I have a house, 2 floors house. I'm gonna just place it right here in the middle. Okay, so I'm gonna hit Control S, and in the next lesson I'm gonna actually fire up Maya, and I'm gonna show you how the 3D model looks like in Maya, and some of these tips and techniques how to export this model from Maya into FBX file and then to import it into Unity. Okay, so see you in the next lesson.